break and away from the conversation of commemorating the World TB and Leprosy Day, we also want to understand what is the safety of those who disseminate the information. The people that we are speaking about here are the journalists. Now, this is so far the third week ever since the journalists slapped boycott in covering security activities following the brutality against the journalists in Kawempe by-elections. And ahead of 2026 elections, many journalists defending associations or organizations are trying to see how best they can be in person to equip these journalists and also boost their capacity when it comes to executing their duties during these forthcoming elections. This morning I'm delighted to be joined by the administrator systems at Human Rights Network for Journalists. We want to understand when it comes to the safety of journalists, especially when we're talking about now the digital transformation. What is the capacity this time in the country now that we're heading to 2026 general elections? Good morning, sir.
Good morning. My name is Magambo Emmanuel, and I work with the Human Rights Network for Journalists Uganda as a systems administrator. Thank you, my brother Rashir, for talking about bringing this topic of digital security for journalists. We find that in the recent times, we used to talk about only physical, but in this digital era, we find that journalists now use digital devices to transform, to send out their stories. They write using computers, they use phones to disseminate information, but we find that they face a lot of threats, digital attacks online, such that it hampers them when it comes to in their line of duty. So as an organization, we found it best to roll out different digital security trainings across the country to equip them with the right skills to be able to defend themselves and also to be able to come up with proper mitigation measures when it comes to these different attacks that you can face online.
Okay, maybe other than having this particular aspect of digital security, we are even seeing the journalists themselves. When it comes to the component of artificial intelligence versus that is natural intelligence, it seems we're now running away from thinking for ourselves and taking more emphasis on the artificial intelligence, generating content, even sometimes the photos. Us being an organization, what is the level of engagement with these journalists to ensure that we also just don't look at AI alone, but also make sure that we utilize our natural intelligence to create content and also generate the natural things that our audience might want to consume?
You know, AI has brought a lot of changes when it comes to generating content, and you find that journalists are now so much dependent on using it. But we don't want to say that it's a bad thing, it's good, but how are you using it as a journalist? You get. You find that a journalist just wants to generate content the way it is, the way the application has generated it, and just wants to publish it. Then you find that a journalist also resharing a photo that has been generated by AI. So we're having this kind of conversation that how can a journalist use AI in his journalistic work so that he can send out truthful information apart from just him looking at generating content, but is it fact? Because these tools are not also factual. They have errors. So as a journalist, you have to take other measures to see that you can edit what this application has generated for you. We don't want to dismiss it that we should not use AI in our day-to-day work, but it has helped us as journalists to do our work. But how are you using it? Yeah? Are you using it to disseminate wrongful information or misinforming the public? That's not should be the case. It shouldn't be the case. But use it so that you can. It gives you ideas on how to generate different content in your day-to-day work.
Maybe away from this, yesterday we did see our colleague journalists who were covering parliamentary session when the minister, that is kind of Tafira, appeared with some security members before parliament. These journalists marched out of parliament while covering this particular activity, and their argument there is that the minister failed to apologize before them following the post-Kawempe elections where brutality was levied against the journalists. Do you think that should be the right direction that journalists should take, or we need to cover these events so that we can also have accountability in case there's any other alteration, either in favor of journalists or against the journalists?
You know, apologizing, and us as journalists, we need to understand that we know that what they did was bad to us as journalists. But of course, the security minister apologizing does not take away anything from him, because they know what they did. But we need also to stand our ground. They need to understand that us storming out, or them storming out of the meeting, was, they feel like they are humans, you get, and they should not take them for granted, because they think that for them they will just come back again and report, which should not be the case. It used to be back then like that, whereby we say this is a blackout, but then you find that next time journalists have gone to report. But now this time the journalists have stood their ground that no, enough is enough. We need to have an apology, maybe from the security officers or from the government for what they did to them. So I think we need to stand our ground this time around, so that we feel like they understand that what they did to us was not good. Yes.
We're heading to 2026 general elections, and this could just be a snap peek of what is likely going to happen in 2026. What could be your message to the journalists, and how safe should they ensure when they are covering or executing their duty?
We need, as journalists, they need to be ready, because we've seen such things happening in the previous elections, but also even outside the elections. Journalists have been battered. Journalists have been, their security has been not that good, when both physical and online. We've seen that their accounts being hacked into, their devices confiscated, they're forced to delete content on their cameras. So we need to be prepared, and that's why such trainings are being rolled out to prepare them for such instances when they happen. What next? Yeah. So we need to be, as journalists, they need to be ahead. They should have a plan that in case they're going to cover a protest, what should I have in place? Yeah. What should I do? Is there someone I can call? Do I have the right tools that will enable me to execute my duties? So as journalists, we need to be ready for such instances, for such coverage when it comes to the campaigns, and also the D-Day for the elections. Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. This has been Mr. Emmanuel Magambo trying to bring us into speed as far as the issues of digital security is concerned. But of course, when you look at the conversation, we also focused on what happened yesterday in Parliament, where the journalists who were covering a session where Minister Kaindo Tafire was there, much out of the event, and their argument there was that the ministers failed to apologize following the incident that happened in Kawempe, where a number of journalists got injured, and the leaders argued that they became actual collateral damage. So this is the conversation that we had here in West Nile, where a number of selected journalists are currently ongoing training on digital security. And when you look at the focus of this particular training, they're trying to see how these journalists can ensure their safety ahead of 2026 general elections. For the interest of time, allow me to hand you over to my sister Priscilla in studio to continue with the last segment of Morning at NTV show. Priscilla, if you can hear me, take up from where I've stopped. Good morning from West Nile, specifically Arua.
District.